Valuing yourself first allows you to understand and believe that you are worthy of love, affection, and the good things in life. Hi, I'm Clarity Coach Lucy, and welcome to the final episode of the Value Thyself September series. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself taking you through these episodes of this series and just bringing to you these nuggets. And it is my sincere hope that these nuggets, after every episode, have been of value to you. And being of value to you, that you are able to apply them immediately, if not immediately, that you are able to go and park them somewhere, that you can have just a place like a vault that you can go and pick 1, 2, 3 of them, and that you will be able to use them, or just have total recall and it comes to you at that very point when you need it. It's been about valuing thyself. That's what we've been talking about. And just a small recap. We started episode 1 with connect with your inner self. And in connecting with your inner self, we looked at the stories of our lives. We are the authors of those stories. How this story goes depends on you and the choices that you make in life. So what is it that you want your life to be like? Make this story real. Put the narrative together. The past is the past. Just use it so that you can be able to create your future story. See yourself in it and the things that you need to do today, and embrace that you are unique. Comparison is not going to help you at this point. Just embrace that you are unique and be able to pick under advisement anything that you need to come and add some spice into your life. Secondly, we went into our episode 2, which was about being true to self. And in being true to self, we stopped and we looked at our worth. We identified our worth. We actually said that we are worthy. And then we manifest it. And as we manifest this worth, we are showing the world that indeed we are worthy. And we know it ourselves, because it needs to start from you that you are worthy. So when we started off with manifesting this worth in behavior, then it was about understanding your shadow. And you need to go back to the episodes, and the recordings are there on my YouTube channel, on what understanding your shadow is. All you have to do, it sounds simple right now, but you have to go through the episode, is you need to name it so that you can tame it. You need to be cognizant of the fact that you are a sum of your light and of your darkness. So don't run away from it. Don't push it or shove it under the rug, because the day it rears its ugly head, you will have no control. So just being able to name it and tame it is definitely a tool that you need to learn. And then it was about creating and connecting with your inner circle. Who do you have in your inner circle? Are they there by design or by accident? Take back control of the people that you allow to have in your inner circle. Therefore, you know what it is you need from each individual and what you are bringing to the table. You heard me right? It's not about other people only. It's also about you. You need to bring something to the table. And what is it? What are you going to bring to the table? Again, only you can decide, and you need to watch the previous episodes. Last week, or our last episode, which was episode 3, was about focusing on the possibilities. A harsh reality that as human beings, we tend to focus on the negative. We tend to shift our blame or deflect every time it gets hot in the kitchen. So we want to focus on possibilities, whether we are in good times or whether we are in bad times. We need to have that mindset. And here we said to be intentional about your choice of attention. Remember, we talked about if you focus on problems, you'll only get problems. If you focus on possibilities, then you're bound to get opportunities, and we can optimize on these. So if you're looking at choosing your attention, being intentional about it, you also need to command your language by choosing what it is that you say, that you choose to say, because the choice is there. You have the will to either choose the positive or the negative. And then the one that I loved was upgrading your autopilot. And when you're upgrading your autopilot, it's a beautiful place to be, because that means anytime you step into a situation, anytime you step into a new space, anytime you transcend to another level, that autopilot kicks in and you are confident that it is the autopilot that you trust to be there at that moment. Autopilots don't happen overnight. Autopilots take time. So what you want to do is to be able to build on the meaning that you give in life. Well, that was episode 3. Today it's all about celebrating your value, and I'd love to take you through it. But before that is the question of the day. And that is, what change will you make? Correction. What change have you made in your life as a result of the Value Thyself series? I would love to hear from you. In fact, right here on this live feed, there's somebody who needs to hear your message, needs to hear what landed for you, needs to hear what clicked, needs to hear what is challenging you, needs to hear what you're practicing. Exactly. Because once you learn something, it is of no use to you if you do not do something with it. Whether it's something you're going to pass on and pay forward, whether it's something you're going to actually do yourself physically, whether it's something you're going to reflect on and improve your standard of living or of those around you, whatever it is, the fact is you need to do something with it. So remember what the question is today. What change have you made in your life as a result of the Value Thyself series? So today we're going to look at 3 specific areas, and I will take you through them. And I do hope that at the end of this session, as we come to the end of our series, the value that you found will be something that you want to share with other people. So let's start from the top. Showing up. You're here. You're showing up. I'm here. I'm showing up. We all show up in different ways. This is something that's become a very common phrase today. Showing up. What does it mean for you? What does showing up mean for you? It's something that you need to identify. Because remember, we're talking about value thyself. So what is it you're showing up as when it comes to matters of value? Value, remember, is equated to the worth that you are able to give to yourself. So you are worthy. You're worthy to be loved. You're worthy of affection. You're worthy of the good things in life. And these good things in life are within you. This love is within you. This affection, it starts with you. And that means it's the words that you use. You may say to me, but Lucy, we already talked about commanding your language. We already talked about affirmation in episode 3. Now in episode 3, we were talking about that mindset. There's the abundance and the scarcity mindset. So what do you choose to say to yourself? How do you command that language? And the example that I gave is you being able to say, I can do anything, or I choose to do anything. I choose to do anything in life, as opposed to I can't do it. I can't do it. Something huge is presented to you, and the first thing that you say is, I can't do it. Richard Branson, he posted something, I think it's a quote or something, but it always comes back to me. He advises, in fact, he advocates that any time somebody asks you to do something or puts you in the line of a project that you think is too big, just say yes and then figure it out. Wow, those are high stakes, high risk right there. That scared me so much into paralysis. But when I started doing it, I started considering more yeses than nos, I realized that the language that I was using was actually helping me. It was making me grow. So today it's not so much about commanding that particular language on abundance and scarcity. Today it's about receiving and accepting. So we're taking it to another level. It's about receiving and accepting. So what is it that we're receiving? If I was to pay you a compliment today, how would you react? What would your response be? Would it be, oh, Lucy, you know, or, oh yeah, well, it's really not me. It's, how is it that every time, more often than not, when somebody pays you a compliment, you brush it off. Something to reflect right there and then. Food for thought. Why do you brush it off? This is an opportunity for you to celebrate your value. Somebody has actually seen that you have done a good thing. So you want to be able to receive this compliment. And how do you receive it? How do you show up when you've been complimented? You need to ask yourself this question. There are many ways that you can do it. But one of the ways is to accept the compliment graciously. Thank you very much. I absolutely loved doing that. And I would love more opportunities to do it. I feel I have grown. My emotional intelligence is at another level. I love it that I was able to be an impact on somebody else. Or I was able to give you value. That's one way you can receive it. And the rest we can just be able to work on it. This happens a lot. You see, when we are given some feedback, which is not to our favor, or so we perceive, we tend to pull back. We tend to think that this is a personal criticism. This is where your self-talk comes in. We're taking it to another level, guys. The next time somebody offers you criticism, positive or negative criticism, the next time somebody is giving you feedback, stop, check in, and listen to the feedback. And as you listen to the feedback, just see how you can take it under advisement or you can apply it. Anything and everything that somebody tells you, there's some lesson in there. It's up to you, your choice of self-talk and what it is that you tell yourself. Exciting, isn't it? So self-talk, when it comes to you receiving and accepting a compliment or feedback, is important. It helps you to go to the next level of commanding your language as you show up, because that's how you're showing up in your responses. Today we're looking at this being a very common phrase, showing up. So we're going to do something about it. We're going to be able to understand how we show up, and we're going to build up on it. You know, I mentor the youth, and I mentor them in their institutions. The obvious opportunity that I have with the youth, and I speak to them out here, out and about, it just happens. But the ones that I purposely want to attend is the one in the institutions. I'm not putting down any interaction I have with the youth out here, but I'm looking at them when they're in a group. And that is when they're seated together and they tend to feed off each other's energy. When you meet one member of the youth on their own, it's very different than when you meet them together. I don't know whether you have experienced this, but I have. And you find that when they're together, they say things that somebody else wants to hear. They don't actually tell you what is really in their heart. And you may say, then why don't you, Lucy, then just work with the individual? I do. But I prefer in the group, because then we are able to call out their truth, that they can speak up their truth and that they can show up in front of their peers. I find more value in that. So I wouldn't pass up the chance of mentoring an individual on their own, but if I could get them in a group, wow, my juices are just pumping and raring to go. So when I have mentored these youth, I find that they're really hard on themselves. Hard on themselves when they have made a mistake. And so what happens is they end up withdrawing. They end up becoming this other individual. Stress steps in. Depression steps in. They literally dig this hole that they go and sit in and cover themselves and block the light, just because they feel that they did something wrong. They did not measure up to the expectations of others. Read here others as parents, read here others as peers, read here others as teachers, whatever it is. You will end up finding that they end up not believing in themselves. They think, you've heard of this story of Chicken Licken, and how Chicken Licken, in this fable, the sky falls on Chicken Licken's head, and they think it's the end of the world. This is how the youth are thinking. So they've made a mistake, given, fact, they've made a mistake. They don't know how to come back from that mistake. They do not believe in forgiving themselves. So there's one thing that I encourage them to do. Write yourself a forgiveness letter. Sounds weird, right? But write yourself a forgiveness letter. And this does not only apply to the youth. Also, adults do this. We make colossal mistakes, crazy mistakes, and then we beat ourselves up and we don't cut ourselves any slack at all. And so we end up just going into this spiral and it just goes into this rabbit hole. It's not a good place after that. I invite you today to write yourself a forgiveness letter. You can even take a moment right now and just think about what it is that you did that you believe you did so wrong, whether you did it unto self or unto somebody else. And start with you. Start writing yourself a forgiveness letter. It doesn't need to be a book or so many paragraphs. Start with that one little paragraph. What you need to do is put it down, because it is said that things happen in two places. Once in your thoughts and then in reality. So your reality is taking it from here and putting it down. And the minute you are able to move it this way, it's becoming a reality. You are able to face it head on. You begin to see the way out. The clarity comes in. If you need help, reach out to me, and I am your clarity coach. You will be able to see that this is powerful. This journey is powerful. So there's one thing that I have found when it comes to writing a letter of forgiveness to yourself. In your first paragraph, you're filled with anxiety. You feel like, what am I doing? Did I really wrong myself? Do I apportion somebody else, this blame to somebody else? What is my part in it? If it wasn't, just today I was speaking to somebody and I was asking her why she did not come back to me with feedback. And immediately, instead of addressing what I asked, why did you not come back to me with feedback? She immediately then transferred the blame to somebody else. This is natural. We are human. So when you remove it from your head and put it on paper, you end up focusing on yourself. You're channeling it down, guys, to that paper. It's liberating. It's scary, but it's liberating. That paragraph becomes a second paragraph. It becomes a third paragraph. There's so much you want to tell yourself. Embrace it. Embrace it. You can leave it and come back to it later on, but the power in forgiving yourself is great. So in showing up, you need to be able to forgive yourself. The language that you are going to use unto yourself is very liberating. Third but not least is the attitude of gratitude, and this is what I love. I just love having an attitude of gratitude, no matter what it is. You could have failed in something, but you come back in your reflection and you have an attitude of gratitude that you had the opportunity to engage with that situation and failed. You are able to see the blessings that came with that failure. You are able to see the lessons that came with that failure. This is something that you can practice. For the longest time, I did not know that I could be intentional about the attitude of gratitude. But today I am. And if you know me, if you're out there listening to this right now and you know me, you will see that I always look out for areas to be grateful, something to be grateful about. In the morning, as I say my prayers, I actually send it out to God and I say what it is that I want. I articulate what I want. In the evening, as I do my reflection, I visit it. And I'm able to say thank you. Well, that is showing up, where you need to look at your self-talk, you need to be forgiving of yourself, and you need to have an attitude of gratitude. This is what grows you. The next thing is having a gentle shift in your perspective, not to be stuck on the way that you see things. Remember, in my trainings, for those of you who have attended my trainings, I show you a hat, a sun hat. And I say to you, look at this sun hat from 4 different areas. You can be at the top looking at the sun hat. Imagine what that looks like. You can be at the bottom looking at this sun hat and imagine what that looks like. You can be on one side where there's a bow on the sun hat and you look at it, it looks totally different from the other side where there's no bow. But guess what? Does that alter the identity of the sun hat? The answer is no. It's the same sun hat, but we're looking at it from different perspectives. 4 different perspectives. So whatever it is that you have in your life, let's take this journey now and look at different perspectives. As we look at the second area of focus, these are tips for you to be able to celebrate yourself. So the first one is acknowledging your inner critic. Yes, I'm even saying it as I smile. I have a training, and in my training, I have a tool that I call Kamutu. And you're smiling for those of you who have attended my trainings. Now, Kamutu, loosely translated in Kiswahili, is a small person or small persons. Now, these small persons are the ones that are in your head, always talking, always chattering. Right now, I am trying to learn how to go onto TikTok. It's driving me crazy, I tell you. I feel I have moments of analog block. But anyway, my inner critic is saying, Lucy, you are analog, you are not digital. Lucy, this will never work. Lucy, you can never bring your e-commerce platform to TikTok. This is what the voice is saying in my head. Well, what is the hack here? The hack is to acknowledge your inner critic. Acknowledge it. Just like your shadow self, do not push it under the carpet. Acknowledge the inner critic. So what is the inner critic telling you? You know what, outside of our comfort zone, we're not going there. We don't know what's down that road. You know, we don't like surprises, Lucy. We're not going down there. Acknowledge that your inner critic has protected you for a certain amount of time, whether it's days, whether it's years, whether it's decades. That is what your inner critic does. It helps you to maintain yourself in that area that you know. It doesn't know this new area until you create it as a reality. So when you create a new reality, your inner critic then goes to another level. Your inner critic does not go on holiday, neither does it take leave. It will always be there to be your checks and balances. So don't be afraid of your inner critic. Give it a different perspective. Look at it as something that is an opportunity for you to say, yep, done that, got that, and you know, I have the t-shirt. Now I need to move forward to something new. So your perspective on that is what matters. The other one is to be of service to others. And when I say be of service to others, I want you to imagine what we always talk about, pouring from your cup. You are pouring from your cup. For you to pour means there's something in your cup. And of course, having gone through the Value Thyself series, there is something in your cup now, I hope. All those takeaways that I have shared with you are powerful tools for you to just go and build and nourish what you're putting in your cup, which is within you. Now we are going to manifest in behavior by being of service to others. I absolutely love being of service to others. I get fulfillment from being of service to others. And I do not run the danger of depleting my reserves because I keep on building up on self. I keep on ensuring that that cup of mine is brimming. But I also know when I'm getting to that point, I need to just step back and take a moment, me time, so that I can fill up my cup. So there you go, be of service to others, you know, a different perspective. Instead of thinking, I'm always giving, I want us to be a happy giver. We are told when we are children that sharing is caring. We want to share. So let's practice it so that the children around us can actually see that we are the role models. You know, we are sharing because we care. We are happy givers because we don't expect anything in return. That is us shifting our perspective, the meaning of what we have today. And you will say to me, but Lucy, we talked about upgrading autopilot. Yes, upgrading autopilot and building up an experience into that autopilot so that when you are just thinking on the go, you know, you can trust the thinking on the go. This is going a step further. This is adding more meaning in sharing is caring and being a happy giver, not expecting anything in return. Last but not least is your inner circle. We talked about the inner circle. And inner circle was the power that you gave yourself to choose who is in your inner circle for whatever reason that they will bring to the table and what you will bring to the table. But now we are going a step further and we are talking about not social support, but we are talking about you just figuring out the boundaries. So you've got your 2, 3, maybe 4 people in your inner circle. There has to be boundaries. So that when a yes is said, it is a yes. When a no is said, it is a no. Yes, you can say no to your inner circle. These are boundaries. You can say no to yourself, because that is where you start before you apply it to other people. See how we are filling up our cup? You need to know when to say no to yourself and when to say yes. Say yes to me time. This is what you need to be doing. Say a lot of yes to me time, whatever it means. If it means that it's you lying on your couch and reading a book and just taking it in, if it means it's you in a quiet moment of reflection, say yes. Because our time is being competed for. There's so much that we can be doing. This life that we live in today has got so many possibilities. And I'm encouraging you to focus on the possibilities, but remember to take care of self. So your value is so important. As we continue to come up with ways that we can celebrate our value, we now move on to being authentic. We must strive to be authentic. We must be aligned to our values. What are your values? Do you even know what your values are? Or do they belong to somebody else? Is it something that Lucy said was her value and you thought, oh, check, that's a nice one. I will copy and paste, or I shall conform. Like I said, identity crisis does not only happen to the teenagers, it also happens to adults. But I have a program called Lady in Waiting, and I take young girls between the age of preteen 12 to 18. And we talk about values, we talk about the belief system and the things that are important to them. At this point, it's a lot of reflection of what they see at home or in what they call family, because today family means different things to different people. So this is what we take through, and when we come out on the other side, there's a better understanding with an intentionality for these girls to actually seek and understand what their value is, to know why their belief systems are such, to know what is important to them as they become ladies, because it's about transitioning them into society. That is how I help them. So I ask you, are you going through identity crisis? Why? Is it because you don't know what your value is? You don't know what your belief system is? You finally found yourself in a situation where Lucy changed her belief system or her values, and now you are lost. Because Lucy's had a change of heart. Maybe Lucy was lost. It was the blind leading the blind. This is why it's important that you should know what you are after and how to go about it. You should have that reflection. Again, if you need a coach, reach out to me and I can help you with this conversation and this journey of reflection, this transformative journey that will help you to know your present circumstances, understand them, and have sustainable actions that will always work as you move forward. Speaking up is my last point here on being authentic. When you know your values and your belief system and what is important to you, you need to speak up. And speaking up is either in agreement, in disagreement, or in debate. Speak up. Many a times in this changing world that we live in today, things are happening that are going against our very values, that are going against our very beliefs, that are going against our very things that we hold dear and important, and we do not speak up. And because we do not speak up, we feel off. Our body begins to react. And we begin going into habits that destroy us. And if you look at the cause of why we are in these destructive habits, is because we never spoke up. We allowed these things to grow and take shape in our lives. And we affect the next generations, I beg your pardon, if you don't speak up today. So you either speak up in disagreement that this is not the right thing, this is not what we should be doing, in fact, this is what we should be doing. Or if a good thing has been done, then we speak up in agreement. And if it's something you have no idea about, then speak up in debate. Let us learn together. Let us understand where this other person is coming from. And let's also share what we know. Bad things take form in this world because good people do not speak up. You're good people, aren't you? So you want to speak up today. Well, guys, Those are the 3 points I wanted us to talk about today, the areas of focus that I wanted us just to touch on. And as we come to the end, I'm encouraging you to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, because this is where the value is coming from. So get excited about valuing yourself. Just get super excited about valuing yourself. It's such an important place to be, because if you are excited, it pays off in that other people are going to see how excited you are. You just give off this vibe. Yeah. So let us get excited just about valuing ourselves. Let us be inspired on focusing on the possibilities. As I have told you, focus on problems and you get problems. Focus on possibilities and you get opportunities. Encourage yourself by reflecting on the obstacles that you were able to overcome with courage. Ensure that you do that, because immediately you start doing that, you start to see the journey that you have traveled and you value the actions that you have taken. Here are the 3 takeaways in case you missed them. The first one is leverage on your inner critic. Leverage on the inner critic. The next one is self-talk on receiving and acceptance. And the third one is speak up for what you stand for. Speak up for what you stand for. I'm going to read something to you which I found was very profound when I was doing my research. It goes like this. Learning to value yourself requires a gentle shift in perspective to how you show up. Learning to value yourself requires a gentle shift in perspective to how you show up in your life. You know, such small yet potent changes, like the takeaways that I am sharing with you in this Value Thyself series, when applied, they can make all the difference for yourself and the people around you. But most importantly, start with you. And yes, we've come to the end of Tuesday Talks at 3 today. I hope that these 3 takeaways resonate with you and they're things that you can apply. In the meantime, remember to like our Facebook page. Remember to like, share, and comment on what it is that you found valuable. Get onto our YouTube page, which is LMC Consultancy, and just drop something there for us on the recordings that we have put. This recording will be up by this evening so that you can be able to share on what it is that those 3 takeaways do mean to you. October is coming up, and this is a great month. And in this October, I will be doing giveaways on my book, where you buy a copy of my book and you get an opportunity for coaching sessions with me. Check out our social media platforms for the scheduling of our talks. An October lineup proves to be an exciting one. You don't want to miss that. Let us come together and help build each other. And until I see you in the next episodes of October, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.